I'm so pleased to interview and talk to my friend and dearest colleague and the incredibly talented, elegant, intelligent Dr. Julius Few. So, Julius, tell me a little bit, tell the listener a little bit about yourself and what your training is and what you like to do professionally, et cetera.
Well, Ava, obviously it goes without saying, you and I have known each other for a long time. I immediately gravitated.
Yeah, but you're the only one with a great beard, just saying.
Exactly. Listen, I met you when you were in training, so it's all good. But in any case, no, it's a real pleasure to be here with you. And I have enjoyed watching you all along kind of your journey, and you're an innovator in your own right. And so my background as a plastic surgeon, you took pity on me as a plastic surgeon, and kind of we collaborated in a variety of ways, really that helped to define our industry in the non-surgical world. And really, as a plastic surgeon, I was an early adopter, classically trained in plastic surgery. I then went on to do an oculoplastic fellowship after. That has been the focus of my practice, really facial and kind of ocular in nature on the surgical side. And then on the non-surgical, as you know, I've been very, very interested in kind of innovating on that side. I'm in a section editor for the Aesthetic Surgery Journal, dealing primarily with cosmetic medicine. So most of the innovation that comes out, I've seen well in advance of it being commercially available. And I became really interested in skincare, primarily for personal reasons. My family, myself, we struggled with finding skincare. This, of course, was before you came up with some of your really well-defined products. But back in the day, it was incredibly difficult for us to find skincare that really did not make, in particular, me break out or get inflamed or the like. So I really became interested, and when I was an associate professor at Northwestern,
really
worked very closely with the dermatology department. Joaquin Brieva and we actually led a number of studies for topical kind of therapies. And ultimately that led to some of the development, which created the CBD mist that we're talking about or touching on today.
So that's really interesting, because I think that people always misunderstand black skin. People think that people with darker skin tones, like their skin's going to be able to tolerate anything. And my experience as a dermatologist has been that actually darker skin tones tend to be much more sensitive and more aggravated.
100%. And it's especially, when you look at the idea of like acne form lesions, for example, which I look at my teenage boys, like I'm constantly trying to keep them free of getting any significant kind of acne form developments, because I know they're going to scar and it'll leave pigment and it'll do all the stuff, and then we'll chase that after. So really the products that we're talking about have really benefited close to home, my kids, and they use them. And it's funny, I know I'm doing something right when my 16-year-old son says, "Hey, Dad, can you pick up some more of that cleanser and bring it home?" Because he knows that if he doesn't do it, he gets like little microcysts and so on. So I think that in the big picture, you're 100% right. All it takes is kind of getting a blemish or a fleck of something, and then that can turn into a hyperpigmented lesion that lasts for a long time, and you're chasing to try to get rid of it. So
yeah, and then so many of the skin lighteners designed to take away that post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation or the darker spots irritate the skin too, and then you end up creating more pigmentation. It's really fine balance. Yeah, fine balance.
It is.
So tell me how you decided, because obviously there's so much skincare out there. Tell me how you decided on developing this range. What were your thoughts on ingredients?
Well, so my thoughts were, I, like you, had behind the scenes, especially related to skin of color. I've worked with some of the larger brands to help come up with formulations. And, over that time, and being a plastic surgeon now for well over 20 years, I decided I really wanted to come up with a range of products that initially would work well for my patients, And then as my patients began to share with their friends and family, and as you know, and you and I have taken care of some very well-known people together, that kind of led to a dramatic kind of evolution where people were, notable household name people were saying, hey, I like this particular product or that particular product. And they may have skin tone that is similar to mine. And at the end of the day, that led to kind of the cause and effect of me wanting to really expand a range. And then when it came to the idea of looking at, CBD as an example, I became increasingly curious about it and started doing some research. As you know, I have a full-time research kind of machine. We've done we've done a lot of pivotal research. And so I kind of turned my research fellow onto this, and we started really looking at it. And the truth is there's very little data in this area. So we are actually getting ready to kick off a big study. We just got IRB approval yesterday. That's an institutional review board for our audience. And so, which was a big deal. I mean, it took us 3 months to get approval for this study because they were concerned about CBD. So we had to put in all these metrics to show that we're going to safeguard our patients. But we just got the green light yesterday. So we're gonna do something. And as an editor, now I obviously reviewing hundreds, if not thousands of submissions. We know how to structure a study that will then lead to peer-reviewed consideration. Whether it works or not, we're going to see 100%. But I think that really is what excites me, and it really is allowing for kind of ongoing contribution to our specialty.
So what Julius is talking about is that the trials that he and I often participate together in are looking at FDA approval for injectables and sometimes skincare. So injectables that would include things like Botox, Restylane, Juvederm, something at RHA, but we don't tend to really do that many trials looking at the effect of skincare. And so I think it's something that's so needed to have a real nerd academic approach to how does this affect your skin. So I just wanted to kind of
I love it. And it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, I geek out over this stuff, and it's fun in the sense that, if you think about it, all the things, it would be so easy, especially if I look at your practice, which I know really well, because I've referred a number of people to you, is to say, look, for somebody like you could very easily sit back and say, I've got this great clinical practice. I'm not going to do anything in terms of research. I'm not going to go to the meetings. I'm not going to, a lot of things that you do not have to do that you do because it fits into your academic curiosity. And the same is true for me. And that's one of the reasons why you and I are such dear friends.
Yeah. And I completely, that is true. And I think that I also really feel that it is our responsibility and our duty to move the field forward. And so for two reasons. Obviously, because we want to have that basic science information, but also to provide better service to our patients. And so being a clinician scientist, I think goes along with being the very best possible clinician, right? So tell me about how you chose CBD. So, I've been like, CBD, it was like an orphan drug, and it got all, thrown in with, we're the 60s.
Well, I became really curious about it, and it began honestly when I started coming out to LA. I was around a number of people who swore by CBD for things from helping sleep to kind of chronic back pain to you name it, like a lot of things. And I was learning tremendously about really what was touted to be the benefits of using CBD. And then I started to look at it in particular as it related to skincare. And I was kind of a question mark. Well, what's out there? If it has all these amazing anti-inflammatory and healing properties, what's out there in the literature? And there really was not much, if any, at all. And so then that became a point of curiosity. And so then we started doing some very initial early pilot study or investigational work. And we were blown away by what it seemed to do. And so when we looked at the mist, we wanted to come up with something that was inert enough to be good for all skin types, even the most sensitive skin. So again, we did our own internal kind of trialing to some of the more sensitive skin that is really out there. Even we used it on some patients who had classically kind of atopic skin, like they react to, you look at them wrong and they react. And we found that it didn't. And so then that's what led to the launch of this. And it really is now going to be, in our practice, it's going to be kind of the lead to developing other things because of its nature. The product is made in California, and it's under rigorous kind of FDA compliant control. And at the end of the day, I think we're just beginning to scratch the surface of what CBD can really do. It's funny, even for my own family members who have struggled with like sleeping issues and so on, CBD has been a lifesaver for them.
It's very interesting about CBD because since it got thrown in the stockpile with, addictive drugs, as opposed to understanding how anti-inflammatory the active is. And so as I was learning more about CBD, after California, it's CBD, for the viewers, is separate from THC, which is the psychoactive part. CBD turns out, and I'm just saying this, it turns out that we have CBD receptors on every cell of our body, and we have an endogenous CBD system. So it's like, which means that we have a CBD system that we make our own. We just don't make enough. It's kind of like anything else. Like, why do you eat oranges? Well, we can make vitamin C, but we don't make enough. And so being able to have something that's in higher concentration than we can make ourselves, then we can reduce inflammation in the skin, which is so part and parcel to so many inflammatory skin conditions, whether, as you mentioned, eczema, acne is inflammatory. Everything. So I think it's not just the molecule of the moment, it's the molecule that it's going to be one of those things that's key, like alpha hydroxy acids. It's going to be basic.
And it's exciting. And it's exciting to work with something that really does fall into a botanical, naturally existing product. As you mentioned, there are, the natural receptors for it. It's important in terms of, and again, we're just beginning to learn more about it, but even from the ability to manage free radicals on the skin and managing kind of things that may potentially be precursor to neoplasia, or unwanted growth of bad cells. So to me, I think it's really interesting. And so, we're more to come.
I think it's going to be shown to be very important to the homeostasis of the skin, or to keeping a calm, natural state. You can almost think of it like meditation for your skin. Exactly.
I love that. And it's a great spritz. Especially for somebody who spends time on the airplane like you do. This was, for me, this is my travel companion. I will use it for before and after travel, whether I'm going from Chicago to LA to Chicago and on. So it's a key tool.
I'm going to be using it as perfume because I don't really like perfume, but I love this scent.
Got a nice scent to it.
Face, neck, deck, the works.
You're rocking it then.
So, Julius, I'm just so excited and I'm so thrilled that you're part of my subscription box. The idea behind this subscription box is to provide dermatologist plastics, curated skincare that's actually going to do something beneficial for your skin and not harm your skin. And also, and part of the spring box, which is really cool, is that, where's my skin buddy? Is that I was just talking to Gada, who is the creator of this at-home device called My Skin Buddy. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's really cool.
And so she demonstrated how you can take this device, and then I don't have like a little, don't go anywhere. I don't have like a little cotton pad, but she sprayed the Aforé onto the cotton pad, put the cotton pad on the head here, and then put this little plastic gadget on, and then so she has
that's so clever.
And then you can drive it into the skin better.
Oh, that is so clever. I love that idea, and it's a brilliant kind of modification. That is so clever, and I love. Honestly, you're doing something that, I mean, others have tried to touch on, but you've already done something that no one has done in our space, which is to really create a dermatologist prescribed box that has some of the most interesting and amazing products. And we're honored to be part of that. You've seen it all. And so for me, I think it's an amazing seal of approval for anyone as a consumer who wants to take skincare seriously. So congratulations.
Thank you, Julius, and thank you so much for being part of my project and being also part and parcel to the whole goal of giving people their best possible skin of every skin color, because that's what we're all about.